when you look at this image I posted of the you know the farming techniques or whatever, right? And you see like at the bottom right or whatever, like I used Gemini instead of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is cool too, but I use Gemini because you can do as many like retries, I guess, as you want until I and listen, I've gotten to the point where Gemini would tell me something went wrong. I can't really give you that information right now. You feel me? So usually when that happens, I just take everything that I said previously, put it in the Chat GPT, and then copy that, and then put it back into Gemini, and then that will kind of progress what I'm trying to say. And like this is the shit I'm talking about, right? um, if we can use AI for all kinds of things, right? But actually, let me get to my point. Let me actually finish my point. So I had all this study. I had all these studies. Like Gemini or ChatGPT is not gonna give you what I uploaded. Like that formulated. Because I really see. Listen, I can go into it. I can teach people how to use this AI, really unlock some shit, and not even really on like no weirdo, like trying to be weird with it. Like just on some like I don't think they understood like the module of this is taken from us, you know? It's taken from Kemet, right? The language model, right? I was saying this in a chat or whatever the other day. I was like, it's the Medu Neter, right? It's the Medu Neter. It is the and what that means is like the spirit of language, right? Like the essence of the energy behind the language, right? The spirit force, right? The Ka, right? And then the life force, right? The Ba. You hear me? So it's like this is when you understand certain types of like linguistic elements and like just the way certain things are said, right? Even with English, like English is the worst, but see the thing about melanated people, right? I'm gonna stop saying black people or white people. I think both of those things are they're good. It's good to say it like here, call it, call him a white boy or whatever, but it's not really like who cares? Like he's not a white boy. He just doesn't have melanin. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we want to get scientific, because that's such a new concept. White, you know? Like the concept of white is such a new concept. It's such a new idea. It's such a new word in the dictionary when you understand some shit. Just look into it. White isn't even really white. And I saw somebody else in the comment, I forgot the name, but I saw somebody else in the comment talk about how in Old English language, black or black spelled with a C, like BLAEC or something. Like it's like you can start to see how black means white and black, and it's like he was going in on some other shit, but like that type of argument is unnecessary because you could just look at artifacts, you know? Like you could actually just look at like all the Germanic linguistic old English, all that shit is cool. It definitely can tie in some stuff here and there, but everything that's need to been proven has been proven. The problem is the people who are looked at as qualified to prove something. These people are the most are the least qualified. You dig what I'm saying to you? They put the least qualified people ahead of what gets qualified or not. And so I had to talk to Gemini and ChatGPT. Or actually no, this is just Gemini. I had another study with George Washington Carver, right? So I'm like just like listening to George Washington Carver and just like hearing how he kind of can, not even kind of. He communicates with plants, but I'm trying to figure out how I can, do it to where we can really get an understanding of what he meant cuz like he said a lot of stuff and a lot of it, these people will say, "Oh, well, that's like him, like the interpretation or whatever," right? They want to always try to interpret us, right? And they always have the wrong interpretation, the wrong essence, the wrong energy, the wrong everything, bro. So it's like I took a lot of my studies like I set up this little mini garden, this little farm. And I set it up like I set it up like this, right? The only thing I left out, I think, on my original, um, I think I left out what did I leave out? I think I left out the tiger's eye. Yeah, tiger's eye. Cause I had carnelian, but I didn't have tiger's eye. And then I was like, oh well, yeah, that does make sense. So I'm like, let's add it, right? So there's certain things that AI can remind you of, but AI cannot really, it can't really. It's so sad because it's such a powerful tool, right? But I had to like double check, triple check, all kinds of shit with this, like, because it was like spelling errors. Um, I had to put in here like it said Osiris, right? It was first off going with amethyst, and it was saying Osiris, right? And that's true. Osiris definitely does have the essence of amethyst. You know what I'm saying? The renewal, right? Right. But at the same time, right? The third eye balance, all that kind of stuff, right? Because the weighing of the heart, you know what I'm saying? The transfer to, but see, that's what I'm saying, Ma'at, right? So Ma'at really is amethyst if you think about it, because it's the balance, right? The third eye is the balance. Um, so I had to go in there and say, well, Osiris, you can leave Osiris in there because you have to understand the renewal of the moon going down, Isis, but really Osiris traveling through the underworld, being reborn, you know what I mean? So I want the connection to be still Osiris, but I want it to be my as you know what I mean, because that is the balance of the sun and the moon, right? So we have to understand the just like how the plants here are communicating. Because like down here, I also talked about Akira Miyawaki, yeah, I'm sorry, Akira Miyawaki. Okay, and he was on some shit like, have create like a ecosystem inside of your farm, your mini little garden, right? So like have it to where you have like a world inside of a world. But then once you're able to do that, this is kind of something that I would see. A lot of this, I had to give the AI all of this. You see what I'm saying? The AI was not finna just make this for me. That's what I want people to understand when they want to try to attack somebody who really knows how to use AI. Because if you're talking to a dummy, they will, like, they'll almost expose themselves, right? And even the good, even people who are good at AI, it's like it's almost like designed to make you kind of seem not necessarily wrong, but I don't know. I guess the word would be like ambiguous. I guess, or not even really ambiguous, like more like neutral. Like I don't know. It just doesn't ever seem like it's giving you like the answer, right? Unless you give it a, like, you have to kind of like clarify what is the truth, because this is a robot. It doesn't understand what the truth or what falsehood is. It doesn't understand anything until you tell it what it is. So when you have that in your mind, then you can kind of formulate how you want this to be formatted. Like I told it to format it, for instance, right? I told it to format it, and this is where AI comes into play to be pretty cool, right? And useful, because you could do this by hand, but it doesn't really make a difference type shit, right? But I just said like, hey, format this in a YouTube comment type of way of seeing it, right? So it could be, and the reason why I said that was I wanted it to be easy to read, and I wanted it to be something that somebody can click on quick and read, and somebody can just be like, oh, okay, I kind of get it right now, all in one. I could just screenshot this. I got it all in one right here. I don't have to have a full list or nothing. It's just all right here, right? So I had to tell it to do this. You see what I'm saying? I had to tell it like what's going on, like that picture that you see of those plants sitting on the board. That's my real garden right now that I'm working on. Okay, like I took a picture of the real garden. Okay, and then from there I told it to kind of break it down like this, right? But I also put like an undertone of, like, you remember back in middle school reading like the science books, like the biology books, or like the science textbooks, and they would have like the little pop-ups like this, right? So all this stuff right here, this is how you use AI to actually help you, not to hurt you, because it is a very powerful tool, but they're not going to teach you how to really, really use it. And if anybody does, they're trying to charge you, which they should, right? People with knowledge should charge for their knowledge. Don't get it twisted. Um, but at the same time, like this should be something that everyone should kind of understand and how to kind of get. But a lot of people skipped over another, I guess, attribute would be like learning how to use or learning how to search Google. Okay. Because you can ask Google whatever you want, but I'm talking about like before AI. And then you can ask Google whatever you want, but Google would still give you an answer that you're looking for as opposed to the answer that is just the right answer. You dig what I'm saying to you? So I don't know. I'm just trying to like I wanted this picture to really like have like it all in one, and it to really like feel like okay, I get it, right? Even though it is kind of complex, it's not complex though, right? This is like the base. This is like basics right here, right? When it comes to comedic people, right? When it comes to the like original man, right? This is original. This is basics on the original man, right? I'm not saying anything that's not already out. Like I had to tell it the format of the garden first, right? So before I even touched AI, I felt like, you know what? Let me go out here and talk to the plants, bro. Because AI, if you start a project before you start AI, or if you start a project and you dive into it before you like you dive into it virtually as opposed to diving into it physically first, that it will hinder you. I'm telling you right now, it will hinder you because it is a powerful tool. And if you don't know how to control it, it will get ahead of you, right? And then now you're just now at this point you're allowing it to kind of like create your whole entire thing. And it listen, I'm not saying that it would be super horrible doing that, but it is kind of right because now you have a format. So this is something that doesn't have a soul, doesn't have really a connection of understanding what's really real. And it's telling you how to build your garden when you could just build your garden first, even if you don't know what you're doing, right? You could just literally throw some stones on there, right? Even if you don't know what you're doing, right? Just throw a assortment of stones and silver, you know what I'm saying? Copper and just a bunch of seeds on the on the board, some plants, and ask it, say, hey, on an ancient agricultural scale, or if you want to say a Kemetic, you know what I'm saying, or ancient Africa or ancient Japan or ancient Asia, you can tell AI from that point because you gave it all the information to analyze. Oh, okay, that's lapis lazuli. You know what I'm saying? Lapis lazuli. Oh, okay, that's clear quartz. Oh, okay, that's you know what I'm saying. Black obsidian. And when you have that already in there, right? And when you say, "Hey, can you make it so this is a rectangle, right?" But this is what I'm telling you. If you just understand this from the beginning before you even hop into AI, it makes it so it makes it so much easier to get your point across and to actually use this as a tool as opposed to it using you as a tool. You need what I'm saying to you? So you don't want this to be using you as a tool, and you already given it so much information. You already given it so much data to collect on you, right? You might as well get the best that you can out of it so we could actually take this to the next level with us and like upgrade the situation based upon this, right? So I listen, I already had this board setting up at the in my on my porch. So this is not something that I actually even really thought about too much, right? But I was saying some shit the other day. You can understand something without actually knowing what you're doing, or without actually knowing what's going on, right? Because the understanding is deeper. The understanding is DNA. The understanding is data, right? The real data that's in your ancestry, right? So this was on my porch, not because of any other reason why, besides it was just sitting on my porch. And I said, hey, you know what? I need to have something to kind of put this on to kind of like have all the energy. And I needed to be natural, right? So I picked wood, right? I was looking for something like wood. I was like, okay, wood will work, right? So wood can transfer the energy the right way, right? It's natural. It can transfer the energy the right way. So I'm like, perfect. Let me get that. and it's a rectangle, right? You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to create. So now, boom, I created this, put that on the end, and like when you have the two biggest plants, right, with the most soil and and the biggest plants, you have them on the edge, right, on the edge with the copper. This is what I was doing with the copper pointed inward towards all the plants that are here in the center. Now with the ones in the center, the picture kind of shows it, but I had it set up like a wave, like how Noon is set up, or how like a hieroglyph, the hieroglyph for water. It's like a wave, right, or a zigzag, I guess you want to say, but it's a wave. So I have the plant set up in a wave pattern to exemplify that connection with water and nurture, right? So I'm like, all right, bet. So once I have it all kind of connected, then I put the stones here, here, right? Then I have a field. So not only am I using the Miyawaki, his whole thing where he kind of makes like a whole thing around here like this, I'm connecting the energy of the earth again, right? Because this is really what it all started. Like this is what it all came from, right? This is not something that that's why I put it out. It's not my credit. This is something that the ancient Kemetic people, right? Ancient, what people, some people call ancient Egypt, but it's Kemet, right? The beginning of agriculture, right? Agriculture, right? And we're not even getting into sound, right? We're not even getting into sound with the plants. Why do you think they say, "Oh, play classical music to your babies"? Well, that's babies, right? But they also say if you play classical music to your plants, right? It does the same kind of thing as far as like helping the mind, helping the brain grow, right? So a seed, that's why do you think they call a kid a seed, right? Right? This all goes back to what we are and who we are, right? And then we got some people out here that just take it and misrepresent it and take it and mistranslate it. You know what I mean? Don't understand really what's going on. Take it and make it kind of like, I don't want to be like no judgment kind of guy, right? I don't want people to look at me and be like, this is some ooh, what, you know what I'm saying? But it's like there was a real way before people who didn't understand the way got a hold of it and then started to make it their way. But it's like that way isn't the way, right? But at the same time, somebody said it about me, right? So that's why I'm being very careful about how I say that. I'm not trying to take my and make it nothing. I actually would love some feedback on this, and I would like for people to take this and go further with, because there's different combinations of stones. Different stones do different things. This is just the stones I had in my inventory. You feel me? So like I had the stones in my inventory. I'm like, all right, bet, let me see if I can do something with this. Cause like I know the powers of that, right? That's before I even got on AI, right? You gotta understand something before you even get on AI. You have to have an understanding of what's going on first. You can't get on there and not have no understanding and think it's gonna teach you the truth. It's not. I had to correct this motherfucker like 4 or 5 times. I had to correct it. You feel me? Because it was leaving shit out. It was making shit out, and it still kind of left shit out, right? But at the same time, it didn't. It kind of lets you know what's going on, right? So I'm like, man, I'm not gonna sit here and keep going back and forth with it. Eventually, it just stopped making changes. I was like, yo, you didn't make a change. You didn't make a change. It was like, sorry, I cannot make this information anymore. At that point, I was like, all right, listen, all the information is here that needs to be here. So I'm gonna just call it right there, and I'm just gonna upload this. You feel me? So